So I was given a beta code for the PC version of Fallout 76 just a couple of days ago, and in this video I'm going to state some of the things I liked about it and some of the bugs and issues that I faced. We'll start with the combat. I enjoyed the fluid gunplay and the melee felt nice. It just felt a lot more real than in Fallout 4, but in a good way. While I can't confirm this in any game files or anything, melee range in Fallout 76 felt like you needed to be a lot closer to hit an enemy than in Fallout 4. Pistols seemed to do a lot less damage the further away the enemy was, meaning you had to switch to a rifle for long range combat. In Fallout 4, I never noticed any difference in range and penetration for projectile weapons. Now, with the survival aspects and the extensive crafting options, they were to me perfect. Let me just say that when Todd Howard said this is going to be survival light, he wasn't kidding. In my opinion, the survival to fun ratio is pretty spot on. The need to take care of yourself is there without it becoming an annoyance or a hindrance to the fun factor. I also know a lot of people were worried about the fact that there would be no human NPCs to interact with. Now, this to me, it wasn't really a big deal, and to be honest, I saw enough players running around the game that the world felt alive. The way the quests were delivered felt good, and the story arc kept me interested. And the lore, there is so much lore. With everything from survivor stories to the sad stories, the world just felt immersive and it felt good. The atmosphere felt fantastic, and the music was usually pretty on point to the situation, which helped with the immersion and the overall feel of the game even more. I also enjoyed the way they delivered the perk and attribute system. I won't go into too much detail about it in this video, but if you are curious, there are plenty of videos currently on YouTube explaining how it all works. Now, I've given this game some praise, so let's talk about some of the bugs. And of course there's going to be a few. I mean, would it really be a Bethesda game if there weren't some bugs? Now, I don't consider my rig to be a slug. I have a Ryzen 7 2700X 8-core processor, a Radeon RX 408GB card, and 16 gigs of RAM. Now, I know the card's a little bit dated, but it's still pretty good for what it is. Now, on the inside cells, I held a solid 60 FPS. At no time did I notice any stuttering or shaky gameplay, but it's when I went outside, if I looked in certain directions or at certain things, I would dip to around 30 to 35 FPS. Now, this was pretty jarring to be honest, but it was also expected. Fallout 4 does the same thing for me when I'm in the city of Boston, and I found the best way to fix it was to lower my shadow render distance. Too many objects casting shadows at once, everything from pebbles and rocks to the tallest buildings, would really affect the game's performance. So needless to say, there's some optimizing to be done, but it's a beta, so I'll give them a pass on that for now. Now in this next clip, I fought an invisible ghoul, and I panicked like a 4-year-old child that's just heard their father's footsteps coming down the hallway after they've drawn flowers on the walls in permanent red marker. I'll never get those stains out. I also had a bug where I was fighting a pack of dogs and one of them fell through the wall. But other than this, I haven't had anything that's really broken my experience. It's all been pretty clean so far. Now there are still a ton of mechanics in Fallout 76 that I'd like to cover in more depth. Mutations, weapon and armor decay, the attribute system, the camp system and so on. I'm also going to be trying my hand at some lore videos. I've decided personally that Fallout 76 is pretty great and I'm happy with my purchase. I really hope everyone gives it a fair shot. Bethesda, in my opinion, have gone out on a limb here by trying to get a predominantly single player fan base into an online world, so fingers crossed. Thank you so much for joining me today. It means the world that you would take a few minutes of your time to hear little old me's opinion on it all. If you've enjoyed it, please hit me up with a sub and punch that bell button fair in the nutsack and slap that like button as if it owed you money. Bye now!